Happy Saturday to everybody out there in Los Angeles. Happy Saturday to the lovers of the black and gold, fans of Major League Soccer, and of course, the rest of the globe. We welcome you back to Defenders of the Bank, the LAFC podcast that your mothers warned you about. And that never gets old for me to say, as it gives me the motivation to lean more towards being NSFW just to scare the man I'm about to introduce. It's fun for me. I also don't like being PG, but as we've learned, there are kids out there that listen to our show, and I do respect that. But to quote the great Charles Barkley in a Nike's commercial from the 90s, I am not a role model. I am not paid to be a role model. I'm just a tequila chugging, beer slugging, rootin' tootin' son of a pistol who never quite left the fraternity house, and I'm okay with that because the motto has always been to retain the spirit of youth. For the youth is why we do this. To remain youthful is what it's about, and it keeps us youthful doing this pod because we have a damn good time doing it. And who is we, you ask? I'll flip and tell you who we are. My name's Christian Filliman, better known as Philly, and I am joined by a man who we all know and love, a man who is a molder of young minds in the subjects of math and Latin. And yes, folks, they still teach Latin in some of the hoity-toity junior highs. The man who does it is my main man here, the Spider-Man to my Spider-Man, the Kobe to my Shaq, the Maguire to my Canseco, the Axel to my Slash, the Vela to my Rossi, and the Sun to my Denny. I give you the Titan of Torrance and the Lord of Lawndale, the one, the only, J.R. Liebert, otherwise known as
the Scarf. What is good? Philly said what's up to just about everybody out there at the start of this One More Sleep. You know what time it is, by the way. If it's the night before a match, we do our match preview show, One More Sleep. But I got to make sure we say hi to one more group, Philly. Hello to the millions.
And millions.
That's right, of Defenders of the Bank listeners. We so appreciate and love all of you. The chat is on fire right now. Maybe because the boys are headed back to BMO for the first time in a long time. And Philly, that means the debut of Son Heung-min.
Dude, it felt like forever and a day ago that we went to not we, because you didn't go, that I went to the press conference along with several members of the 3252 to welcome Sonny to Los Angeles. And it's crazy that we've seen him play in 3 matches, but not one time at home. And finally, that happens. Finally, we get to go back to BMO. August the 31st is going to be a historic day, a day that Scarf is going to have to add on to this day in LAFC history. That dossier, that Rolodex, whatever the hell it is, that Palm Pilot. I'm really dating myself with those references. Must be about like this thick right here. That's going to be one to offer and to add. And no, these are good times. It's going to be electric in BMO. You could already see the secondhand market. Like the tickets are through the roof. The store is going to be through the roof. You and I are going to be in the press box, more than likely in the press conference. It's probably going to look like it did when Messi came in with Inter Miami. But this is exciting times. But still more importantly, that we all get to be back together once again in BMO for what has seemed like forever since we last were.
Yeah, and it is going to be hot out there on Christmas Tree Lane tomorrow. We know for sure that the 3252 have an incredible tailgate planned for tomorrow. All kinds of cool bands are going to be out there on Christmas Tree Lane, but it is going to be hot, and I mean hot out there on Christmas Tree Lane for what is our 26th regular season match of the season, what will be San Diego's 29th. So still, by the way, 3 matches in hand on San Diego, but we are chasing them for sure. 12 points back in the standings. The first to clinch a playoff spot this season. And honestly, Philly, having an historic expansion campaign down there in San Diego.
No, it has been incredible. They clinched. They've got 53 points. They've won 16 games. They've lost 7. They've tied 5. They're even better on the road than they are at home, which in this league is a big deal. Winning 9 out of their last 13. They score goals at 52. They also allow goals too at 33. And for a team that every single MLS pundit had finishing last, they're certainly making everybody look like a schmuck. But we've seen this before. We saw it with Austin. We saw this with St. Louis. And I'm going to tell you right now, and I know there's people that I have friends with that are fans of this new club, your run ends tomorrow. Because at the time of this recording, it's August 30th. This is where you start to realize where you truly stand, not only in the Western Conference, but in Major League Soccer. Because there's no way in hell LAFC is going to allow you guys, Brillo Pad FC, because that's what your logo looks like, a flipping Brillo pad or maybe a sink drain, to come into BMO and push us around. Ain't happening on our watch, son.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, right? The first match was such a surprise, the way that they blitzed us, absolutely blitzed us, coming out of the gate down there at Snapdragon. 3 goals in the first 40 minutes, and we looked like we were in trouble in that one. Some of the guys that scored, by the way, that was Christopher McVeigh's first goal of the season. He would go on to score 1 more all season so far. Alex Mighton, that really fast kid that got behind us 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 times. So far, that's his only goal that he's scored this season. So as Lee Corso might say, and we should honor Lee Corso today, not so fast, my friends. LAFC came right back, scored 2 goals before halftime. Granted, we're probably not going to get another goal from Cengiz Under in this one. But all the
or a red card from Igor Jesus.
Well, yeah, all the momentum killed in the 53rd minute. LAFC was on our way back in that game. It should have already been 3-3, although San Diego did have a couple of good opportunities too. But here's the problem that I have. All of our momentum was thwarted with the 53rd minute red card from Igor Jesus. Now, Igor Jesus not going to be picking up any more red cards this season. That's for sure. A bummer about the injury. He's out for the season along with Aaron Long. We'll talk about some other injury news and everything in a minute. But that was a match that could have ended very differently than the 3-2 scoreline that it wound up as. In fact, I thought there would be plenty more goals in the second half. Not a single one scored. But Philly, look, injury news. We know about the 4 for LAFC. Lorenzo Della Valle, Jeremy Abobasi, not season-ending injuries, but it has been a while since we've seen those two, and obviously Aaron Long and Igor Jesus. Our heart goes out to Maxime Chanot as he had to retire finally from the effects of the concussions that he has received. But the big one for me, Philly, obviously Igor Jesus and Aaron Long are huge. But the big one for me coming into this match isn't an injury, but it's the yellow card accumulation of Ryan Hollingshead. I think that one's massive.
That one is massive. And all things considered, you obviously alluded to the fact that Aaron Long is out. So, I mean, you have 2 of our best defenders that are not going to be there. And by the way, a questionable, not necessarily say, yes, Coug, it is an ACL for Igor Jesus. Timothy Tillman's questionable. As they used to refer to it last season as lower body extremities, it's his legs. So we're actually going to be somewhat thin in a lot of ways. But if you go down San Diego's injury list, they've got their fair share too. Corey Baird, the loanee from Frankfurt, Aiden Harangi, who normally would play on the outside back, Marcus Invartson, Willie Camuto, Franco Negri, who's another player who would normally start in on that left side, and Oscar Verhoeven, who's another player that's a defender of theirs. So they too are going to have a few of their key members, a lot of their starters that would kind of rotate defensively. That'll be out as well. So in a way, we kind of shift things relatively even, but the goal scorers on both sides, they're not going to be out. And that's obviously where we're going to see action. And I think we're going to see a lot of action, a lot of goals, all things considered, since both teams have a lot of their defenders out.
Yeah, one that surprised me, this is a guy who I knew from watching come up through USL. San Diego has a sister club, FC Nordsjælland, and they had a player on loan, Milan Iloski, who was scoring. I mean, dude didn't start ever, played like the 10th fewest minutes on the team, had 10 goals on the season. His loan ended on July 15th. So Nordsjælland took him back rather than let him stay in San Diego. And then, by the way, rather than just loan him back to San Diego, which he totally could have kept doing, they loaned him to the Philadelphia Union. We mentioned that they've scored 52 goals on the season, Philly, but 10 of those came off the foot of Milan Ilovsky, and that's a huge loss for them. Look, all the guys you mentioned, right? Corey Baird, obviously we know from LAFC, but maybe Negri, maybe Harangi, maybe Ingvarsson would have had a little bit of an impact in this match, but those guys don't really play a whole ton right now. It's Ilovsky that I'm pretty surprised about. Also, by the way, lots of star power in this one, which I know we're going to talk about in just a second. But the LAFC connection, it starts, of course, with a former member of the front office, a high-ranking member, and if that would be Tom Penn. Tom, I know
the snake himself.
Right? Persona non grata on this podcast and at BMO Stadium, but they got to let him in the doors tomorrow because he is with San Diego. Left LAFC to go make like COVID masks and stuff. And if you believe that, Philly, there's that bridge near where you grew up that we've got some real estate that I'd like to help people purchase. Tom Penn left to go start this thing down in San Diego. Left a few people there with some promises that he didn't keep. So it does kind of start and end, right, with Tom Penn.
Yeah, I mean, there's some things that were going on that kind of between the LAFC and San Diego FC that we've learned about on social media with certain promises of tickets and things of that nature. I'm just going to say, as angry as the San Diego fans might have been at LAFC for saying that we were going to give you all 600, but then only give you all 250, but then give you all 600 at an exorbitant price. First of all, that's the markets, baby. Sun's in town. We got to pay the man. Obviously, that's going to be the factor. But where do you think we learned a lot of this stuff from? Huh? I'm sure Tom Penn had some hands in some of these things that would have occurred back in the day. You don't just learn this from nowhere else. You guys have a lot of LAFC influence there, starting with Mr. Penn himself, but a certain player who's going to be the focus of my keys to the game. Somebody else I want to necessarily I'll talk about, but I know I'm not going to steal the thunder because I know you love this kid. He's a fantastic player, but yes, he's certainly part of my keys to the game. I'll leave it to you to talk about Mr.
I can't wait. This is going to be a fun one. It's going to be a fun one. But look, talk about the LFC connection. Pablo Cisniega, backup goalkeeper. Corey Baird, who's hurt in this one. Tomas Angel, who has 4 goals and 2 assists. But we'll hold off on talking about the other player. But Philly, look, they've got an MVP candidate that I know you're going to talk about in Anders Stryer, who is special. By the way, we're bringing one superstar in South Korea in Heung-min. How about Mexican superstar Chucky Lozano? He's been incredible. The Finnish midfielder who's been great for them, Oni Valakari. And U.S. men's national team hopeful Luca De La Torre. There's a ton of talent in this one. It's going to be a fun one. Philly, what do you say we get right to it and get to our players to watch?
One last reference I want to tie to the Empire Strikers. So former coach Paul Wright was actually Luca. It still is Luca De La Torre, is like one of his primary trainers. So he's been Paul Wright been training Luca De La Torre since way back in the day. So got some ties to our indoor stuff as well. Indoor soccer going to be starting in December, late November, in a lot of other cases. But if you want to check out some indoor action internationally, Oceanside at Front Wave Arena on the September 13th and the 14th. USA, Colombia, Mexico, and Brazil. It should be a good one. And you got a lot of players from the Empire Strikers that will be there. A lot of those same players that won TST with Bumpy pitch. So I had to throw a little indoor soccer flavor.
Yeah, look, hey, if you tune into our next episode the day after this match, tune in on Monday. We'll talk all about that. That could be kind of fun. As they said in Wayne's World, I was not aware of that. All right, so let's get into my players to watch. Philly's going to talk about one of these guys a little bit later, and surprisingly, it's not Son Heung-min. Let's be clear, folks. We need our stars to play like stars in this one. And there is no bigger star in Major League Soccer right now, with all due respect to that man down in Miami. There is no bigger star right now in Major League Soccer than Son Heung-min. We've seen his ability on a free kick. We've seen his ability as a facilitator, as a creator. We've already seen his ability to make players like Nathan Ordaz play even a little bit better. I'm telling you right now, Son Heung-min is going to make his impact felt. I was ready to give some apologies to our buddy Schmurdy. As I said last match, that it wouldn't be Son's game yet, and all Son did was have that incredible free kick goal shut me up real quick. But I'm telling you right now, I think Son Heung-min is going to have his fingerprints all over this one. It is going to be a fantastic night at BMO Stadium for Sonny. And for San Diego, a player who I have had a soft spot for since he came up with the club, never made it to the first team with LAFC. Well, all he has done, Luca Bombino, since May, since the calendar flipped to May, he has started 17 of 18 MLS regular season matches. He has played the full 90 in 15 of those 17 matches, and they are 12-3-3 in those matches. Now, am I saying that Luca Bombino is the reason why they have won 12 out of the 18 of those matches? No, I am not. But I am saying that once they were able to solidify Luca Bombino as an outside back, he has played very, very well for them. 24 starts on the season, approaching 2,000 minutes. And I am all for seeing this young kid do well. He is currently on loan from LAFC to San Diego, so we can bring him back after the season, and I really hope we do. I love Ryan Hollingshead, and obviously I love Sergi Palencia, but Artem Smolyakov and Luca Bombino may be the future of this club on the outside. We shall see, but I love Luca Bombino, and so I'm going to be watching how he plays against all of our front line, and I think Philly's going to have something to say about that later.
I absolutely will. And look, what you said, yeah, you can't take away from Son. I knew you wanted to go that direction. Before I get into LAFC's players to watch, look, Anders Dreyer is a special talent. Like, he's shut my mouth and just impressed me all season long. You always wonder how somebody from first off, Danish players, there's been several of them throughout the history of the last couple of decades that have been pretty good. And although he hasn't had as many caps on Denmark, the guy has been really, really good doing things. He had a fabulous career playing over in Anderlecht, which is a team in whatchamacallit, a Belgian professional team in Brussels. In the Anderlecht Brussels region. I mean, the guy is a fantastic player. He had 69 games for Anderlecht, scored 26 goals. And in San Diego, he's picking up right where he left off. The guy leads the team in scoring. He leads San Diego in assists. But not only that, he leads Major League Soccer in assists with 3 ahead of Orlando City's Ojeda. Dreyer is a awesome player. And if we are going to be successful, that's going to be the guy that we're really going to have to pay some great attention to, because if he's being double teamed, he'll find somebody. He's very efficient at passing the ball around, getting his teammates involved. Obviously, he leads the league in assists. So he's a special talent who we absolutely need to shut down. And for me, look, it's simple. It's the man that's going to beat Denis Bouanga, that's going to beat Carlos Vela's scoring record, and that's Denis Bouanga. I want to reiterate, Vela, 93 goals in 186 games across all competitions. Denis Bouanga's got 89 goals in 141 games. He is going to catch up and beat Carlos Vela, solidifying his status on the Mount Rushmore of LAFC players. And all things considered, his last couple of games for that matter, relatively quiet, because obviously sharing the pitch and sharing the ball now with somebody as highly talented and world-class as Sonny is, Denny's kind of taken a back seat, and that's probably been a good thing, because now LAFC has far more scoring options and not necessarily a one-trick pony. But Denny is going to be on fire at BMO. The crowd is going to be insane. The 12th man, the 3252, it's going to be incredible. Sonny's going to have a great game, and so will Denis Bouanga.
Listen, I think in order for LAFC to win, that's got to happen. I think Denis needs to have a big, big moment tomorrow. He's got to get himself back on the scoring sheet, by the way. Very, very, very important. Got to get himself back on the scoring sheet. And you're right. Dreyer is special. He was a player who we thought, kind of came out of nowhere. Maybe he'll peter out. No, all he's done has gotten better as the season has wore on. So Dreyer, definitely someone to watch. All right. So my 2 keys to the match are a little less about X's and O's and a little more about mentality, right? my keys to the match, first of all, it's got to be next man up. Philly, you mentioned Timothy Tillman could be out. Igor Jesus is definitely out. That means we are going to need a step-up match, likely from a player like Frankie Amaya, likely from a player like Matthew Chonier. And look, Matthew Chonier starts on the Canadian men's national team, El Maple Tree. Okay. He is a fantastic midfielder who has already started to pay dividends by playing alongside Son Heung-min. He's the one that scored the goal where Sonny got the assist. Matthew Chonier is ready for his close-up. And Frankie Amaya, a former #1 overall pick in this league. Frankie Amaya needs to start playing to his supposed talent level. I'm not saying he's played poorly for us at all. In fact, I think he's played very, very well. But you may have a starting role on your hands, Frankie, if you play your cards right after this season. So this is a huge step-up match. Dakug, yes, he is, but usually at tailgates. This is a huge step-up match for a couple of players in the midfield. Obviously, we know next man up on the back line. That's been the theme all season. I'm looking at Ryan Porteous, and I'm hoping he can give us something in this one because alongside Eddie Segura, not having Aaron Long and not having Maxime Chanot, I really wanted more from Nkosi Tafari this season, and I just haven't seen it. So maybe that means we get 45 minutes from Ryan Porteous, maybe more. Maybe that means we go, I don't know, to 3 in the back, but we don't have Ryan Hollingshead. So I'm not super comfortable with that. It's going to have to be next man up. Artem Smolyakov, we think, is going to get the start in this one alongside Sergi Palencia because of Ryan Hollingshead's yellow card accumulation. I'm telling you right now, Steve has got to get all these guys as fired up and focused and ready to play because it is going to take the entire village tomorrow to get past San Diego. And look, this one, I think Coog talked about this in the chat very early on, Philly. This is a good old-fashioned 6-pointer. I'm saying it right now. I don't care that we have 3 games in hand or 4 games in hand on a lot of teams. If we don't win this match tomorrow, win 3 points, we do not win the West. There is, to me, no way to then climb the 12 or 13 or 15 or whatever points it is that we're going to be down at the end of this one if we don't win tomorrow. So if we don't win, we can kiss the West goodbye. We can kiss, obviously, any thoughts of a supporters shield goodbye. And I think that's already going to be a tough uphill struggle. But next man up, and this one is a good old-fashioned 6-pointer. We got to go out there and get all 3 on our home pitch.
I have to address the comment in the chat here by Fluffhead. This is hilarious. I am a massive fan of the show Dexter. This new series of Dexter, by the way, Resurrection, it's freaking amazing. I would argue that maybe one of the best in the Dexters, series. Frankie Amaya is Peter Dinklage. That's what he's referring to. Peter Dinklage gathers all the serial killers to his house on the show Dexter. Fluffhead's referring to the fact that Frankie Amaya and yes, Peter Dinklage are of the same size. I find a lot of humor in that. Okay. So as far as LAFC's keys to the game, I'm going to be a little more X's and O's on this. I can tell you for a fact, both teams have been very susceptible at conceding goals off of set pieces, both San Diego and LAFC. So we have to be as successful as we can be in the air, trying to head in a goal, and obviously in the air trying to defend goals. We know that San Diego is a team that is very good at scoring goals. We're susceptible. They're susceptible. Whoever's going to be the better team as far as set pieces is concerned is going to give an advantage. And we already talked about how many defenders that San Diego FC already has injured. We have a couple of defenders that are injured as well, but I do think that we have more potent offensive weapons, and our defenders are a lot stronger than San Diego's, the ones that are going to be playing tomorrow. That being said, we've got 2 players that are comfortable and typically function in on the left side. That would be Denis Bouanga, or in most cases, Heung-min's son. These guys are very efficient at the left side. With all the rotation that San Diego's been doing with all their injuries, it's really been Luca Bombino that's been on that left side. And one thing we could say about the young 19 or 20-year-old is his pace isn't going to be up to the snuff of a Denis Bouanga and a Heung-min son. Since we do like to attack on the left side, Go out there and attack the player that we know we can outpace, and a player whose habits a lot of our team knows, due to the fact that Luca Bombino trained with LAFC for a significant period of the time. And I love the kid. He's going to be a superstar. He just doesn't have what it takes right now to protect that left side the way San Diego FC absolutely needs to protect that left wing. At the same time, I also don't think their goalkeeper, Dos Santos, is very good either. We blazed through San Diego on that left side. Dos Santos is going to be sitting like us shooting whatever in a barrel. And I don't really like saying shooting animals because I love animals. So that being said, we attack the left. We expose Luca Bombino. We win this game. Listen,
10 clean sheets on the season, 9 in MLS play for CJ Dos Santos. But I like it. Look, bottom line, Philly, if we're going to beat this club, we have to attack. We are not going to win this game 1-0. This game is not going to end 1-0. In fact, let's talk about what it is going to end at. I don't know why I hit that button. I'm ready for a good old-fashioned shooting match down at BMO Stadium tomorrow. This one is going to harken back to some of those early Carson LAFC matches where you had Carlos Vela on one side, Zlatan Ibrahimovic on the other side, and it was going to be a war, an absolute battle for 90 minutes. But you know what we didn't think would ever happen in those? Clean sheets. And that is certainly not going to happen at BMO Stadium tomorrow. I love me some Hugo Lloris. You guys know I think he's probably the most underrated keeper in Major League Soccer right now. All the other guys get all the love, and there's Hugo with double-digit clean sheets on the season. But this one is going to be different. This one is going to be a good old-fashioned LMU basketball game from 1989 with Bo Kimball and Hank Gathers. This is going to be a run-and-gun shootout at BMO Stadium. I'm predicting braces for a couple of players, and this is going to live up to the hype. Damn you, Apple TV, for moving this to 7:45 on a Sunday. Thank goodness that the day after is Labor Day and we don't have to work. I hate 7:45 on Sunday games, but this is going to live up to all the hype. And all the Korean fans out there that are tuning in to see Sonny make his home debut, they are not going to be disappointed. This is going to be a fun one. I've got 4-3.
I like it. I mean, we're in the same ballpark, more or less. It's going to be more than 4 goals in this game. I have it with LAFC winning 3-2. I want to address something that's actually a really good point. Q Cardi in the chat mentions, is there a clause where Luca can't play against his parent club? That happens to a lot of players in leagues with loans within their own league. That's a really good point. I didn't take that into consideration. I guess we'll see in the grand scheme of things. But either way, I think a lot of our attacks still going to come in on that left side with the amount of defenders that San Diego have that are out. My point still stands. I just wanted to pick on little Luca Bombino because, the kid's talented and I want to drop his name in, and Scarf loves him too. But that is a very, very good point.
And Philly, to that point, real quick, and I don't mean to interrupt, he did not play against us on March 29th. He was on the bench. So maybe, I don't know. Is there a rule? I don't know.
Well, it all depends on the on what the clause was. I mean, we'll find out. Either way, I still think we win by beating San Diego, attacking in on that left side. Whether it's Sonny, whether it's Denny, either way, the attack's going to come from there and exploit the inefficiencies of San Diego FC's weak back line. They score, but they're certainly susceptible to counters and things of that nature, which we know LAFC loves to do. They love the bunker, catch on the counter. It'll be coming in from the left side. But either way, we're going to go out there and win 3-2. This nice little run of San Diego's. Look, it may continue after the game at BMO. They may still very well win the West and all that other jazz. But I could tell you for a fact, all my friends that are San Diego FC fans, I've heard a lot of chirping. You could go to social media. There is a lot of chirping. But at this point, you're coming to Big Brother's house. You absolutely are. From a city perspective, from a sports championship perspective, I love San Diego as a city. I love people from San Diego. Heck, if I had the money, I'd love to live in San Diego. But LA is where it's at in Southern California in a lot, if not all aspects. And little brother is not going to come into big brother's house and push us around. We are winning 3-2. And I'm not going to quote it exactly, but my final part of this exclamation point is I'm going to harness my inner Ron Burgundy right when he got fired, where he said, go yourself, San Diego. That is my thought on tomorrow's game. Brillo Pad FC or Sink Drain FC or Chrome FC, whatever name we're going to stick to as far as calling them, they are coming out with one letter smacked and tattooed on their foreheads, and that is an L. Because you're not going to win in our house.
I'm all for it. You know, I have that shirt that says LFGM. I would love to see a black and gold shirt that just says GFYSD. I'm all for it. Look, that's I don't mind it. That's a fun one. Listen, thanks to some AI on Google here. In MLS, a loaned player may be able to play against their parent club as there is no blanket league rule prohibiting it, and whether they can participate in such a match depends on the specific terms of a loan. I put that in the chat. So that's the rule or lack of a rule, I guess, right? As we
said it, it's about the contract itself.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting. Some leagues have blanket rules so that you can't, manipulate rosters and things like that. But either way, I've got 4-3. Philly's got 3-2. Ruben's already playing the exit music for us here. Don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on notifications, follow us on whatever platform you do. We so appreciate you guys getting into the chat with us, talking about everything with this epic match. San Diego FC comes to BMO Stadium for the very first time, and we've been telling Sonny all about this beautiful BMO Stadium that he gets to play in front of the 3252. Now he gets to see what it's like. So this is going to be a fun one. Philly, again, can't wait to see you tomorrow on Christmas Tree Lane, bud. It's going to be a fun one out there. Wear sunscreen, drink water, and you know how we like to end each one of those things. Love you. Bye-bye.
Bye.